Hello Overseers, last episode we unlocked the Inventor Ant Mark II and set the stage for a major base rebuild. Now it's time to make it happen. Before restructuring, we're using floor tiles to control the energy orb flower spawns, creating a cleaner, more scalable layout. Then we focus on colliding energy orbs to a higher level for maximum efficiency. Will this be the key to long-term growth? Let's jump in and find out. Oh boy, is this going to be an action-packed episode. It is time for the inevitable base rebuild. Look at my base. Look at all these trails and all this craziness that's happening here. Generally, when your trails look this messy, it's time to, or what we would say in the data engineering world, refactor your code or rebuild your base in this case. So let's get to it. First of all, I'd probably want to think the concept that we're going with is we're going to tile across our entire island, this first island. The concept being, if you delete the flowers with tiles, they will respawn somewhere else. And you can control where they respawn by controlling where you don't have tiles. So instead of having flower patches all on these edges of the island and super annoying places, we can control exactly where we want them, and we'll decide later on where we want all our different patches and how many patches we might want. Maybe we just want 4 patches or 5 patches, but we'll decide all that later. The first thing that we're going to do, since we're going to delete all these islands, there's definitely going to be a feeding break, and our queen is probably going to de-level back to level 1, but that's fine because we're going to collide all our orbs and start feeding an energy orb too, and it'll be back to stage 11 in no time. We're going to basically delete everything and just start from scratch. So let's not waste all the ants on our map. First, we're going to stop this process. We're going to just delete all of these guys. And we're going to stop new lava from spawning in this system. And we're going to stop the lava from here spawning as well. If I remember where my lava spawners are. So we're going to get rid of all our lava spawners. Get rid of that. No more new lava is spawning. All our old lava is now going to go into this gene creation process. And then we're just going to get whatever remaining gene points that we have. We're just going to send all our ants into the old trails. If I can grab all my ants, just go to the old trails. And we'll just let them slowly do their thing without any new ants being created. Eventually, all our ants will just slowly die and become various different ants. Or maybe we need some more to become these ants. But whatever, we'll figure it out as we go. But as our ants die, we need to start tiling. We need to start tiling on our map. Now, we don't have enough iron tiles to tile our map, so we have to use concrete ones, and concrete tiles are free. How amazing is that? You just need to connect it to a concrete core, and then you get infinite concrete tiles. So we're going to move this concrete core somewhere where we've already got some stuff, and then we're going to just delete these ones that we were doing testing on, and then we're going to start tiling out from the concrete core. So those ants can do their thing. It's going to take me ages to tile over all this crap. So I'm just going to start doing this. And of course, I'm going to skip over all the boring bits in the video so you guys don't have to worry about that. I can just tile over everything. So here, like for example, see how I'm deleting all my flowers now? Apparently it takes 10 minutes for the flowers to respawn. Unfortunately, you can't quite tile over this. So I need to maybe manually do this part just to delete the flowers for now. So we'll have to just go over here. Oh, I can't do it with concrete tiles, but we can do it with regular iron tiles. Delete these flowers. Delete that. It's a little bit finicky. Got to delete all the flowers. Make sure they're all gone. Quality of life features, please come to me. Now, I hope this stuff over here doesn't cause it to respawn. Otherwise, we might need to do some stuff to get it not to respawn on the edge, because that's the whole point. Can I drag or control click or something? No, I just have to manually place every single concrete tile. All right, well, I'm just going to do that. And when my entire island is paved, then I will come back and we will talk about stuff. But it doesn't seem like there's a limit on how much concrete tiling I can pave, and that's fantastic because I don't have that much iron tiles to put down. And eventually I'm going to cover this whole island. It's going to take some time, so I'll be back when that's all done. Alright, I think I've done it. I've sent pretty much every single ant out. Oh, I don't know why I'm still breeding new ants, but get rid of this. I had to breed a couple of extra ants to finish off one of my cocoons. We've gotten 2 of our points while we were doing this. Is that enough for what I wanted to get? It was the smart dispenser. It only needs 1. I think this will really help with inter-island logistics. So I'm going to spend 1 on this. And I think it's finally time we get the big eraser. I already got the big eraser, but we're going to put the big eraser to use. eraser. Is that already the big eraser? Or is that just a normal eraser? How do I get to the big eraser? Big eraser. Erase big mistakes. Ah, look at this thing. Oh, amazing. So we're going to delete all our trails. We're going to let all our ants die and get rid of everything. Get rid of all the buildings. And everything will be fresh for basically a clean start to the game. We're going to erase every single trail on the map. Now we're going to get rid of a lot of these buildings. Our map is really clean because we've dug out everything. So we can figure out where is sort of a central place for the ants to go. I mean, we could just use this half of the island, but I'm thinking we just go central, right? We start our queen over here because now that our flower patches aren't going to be all over the place, we don't actually need to have separate spawning locations. We can just have one massive sort of thing that goes over here, right? We can have all our ants spawning from a central area, and then we can just send them off to specific places. So I guess we'll just start off here in the center. I'm going to start deleting all these machines and then just storing all their materials somewhere. When that's done, we should have a fresh island to work with. And look at that beautiful, clean map. We are starting from scratch, guys. No joke, like completely from scratch. I love it. So let us go and start figuring out where to put things. So the first thing is let's place down our queen and where we're going to do that main loop. So I'm thinking since this is the center of the map, we do it like right here somewhere. So I'm going to put down my queen and then we're going to figure out the feeding loops and stuff for it. So we're just going to start from scratch. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I'm going to put down that loop down here. I'm going to go with a hauling trail first of all to feed the queen. And it's going to link to some sort of dispenser with some ants. And then it's going to loop back down to here. Something like that. That's not right. Already screwed this up. We need a flat line to go against the dispensers. And then once they do that, they go feed the ant. And then they go back up to the dispenser. So same thing on this side. A flat line that goes down to feed the ant. And then back up to the dispenser. So we'll have a couple of dispensers here feeding the ant, and then the ant is going to spawn stuff. And I'm going to try something different for the trail that comes out. And that's going to be going to two different trails, basically, instead of just a single one with a divider like I used to do. And we're going to see if that helps the spawning process. So we can get our spawners over. And that way, if we need to add more, we should be able to find a way to add more. So we'll do something like that, give ourselves plenty of room. Now, as these spawners spawn eggs, we need to then put them somewhere and start spawning everything. So we could probably do that either to the left or to the right of the queen. It doesn't really matter. We could probably do one on the left and one on the right just to separate them, maybe. So for example, if I put a dispenser on this side of the queen, that will spawn stuff on this side, and then we put a dispenser on this side of the queen that will do this dispenser, and then we can get a trail to get them into a incubator, right? So we'll do something like this. They can go straight into an incubator. I wonder how many incubators we want. That is the question. Should we try with 3? Let's start with 3 and then we'll go from there. So our incubator will go here. We'll just go from the center. Make it as tight as possible. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll do the same on this side. Might as well make everything symmetrical in this rebuild. And we'll try with 3 incubators. And we'll get a hauling trail doing this. Can we get that tighter? Like there, there, and back. From there, there, oh, there, there, and back, right? And now we can get our sentry ants to work. So our sentry ants are gonna get one going here. Oh my god, my game's been playing this entire time. But that's okay, we're not doing anything anyway. Our queen's just slowly de-leveling, which is fine. And then we need our other 2 sentry ants on here, I think. Where is my other 2 sentry ants? I need to find them. They're somewhere. They're over here. 1 to do this one. And 1 to do this one. I think the other lovely guy's over here. Great, now we have 2 trails of ants coming out. We're gonna make these trails pretty massive because we know that there's gonna be a ton of ants on this trail. So let's just go down to here and make a perfect rectangle then. But then if it's too massive, then it takes too long to saturate the thing. We're gonna balance this trail basically. We don't want them to get jammed, and we don't want them to also spend too long running laps. So yes, that's basically our center of our map, right? We're gonna have ants on here. We already have ants on here. Now, these ants are immediately gonna go feed the queen, but we don't have any plants at the moment, so we're not gonna worry about that for now. So now that begs the question, where do we want to spawn our plant patches and how many plant patches we want? Our main focus in the game is still to be getting these gene points, because everything going forward now needs gene points, and also we need some tier 2 workers at some point, so we've got to figure that out too. So knowing those two facts, how do we put our things? So our gene cocoon needs workers, iron workers, drones, and pod workers, right? So we should have sort of at least 3 patches of flower, maybe more. So if we have one major patch for making workers, so basically these guys will come in, they will farm the flowers somewhere, and then they will become workers. And then these guys will come in, they will farm the flowers somewhere, and then they will become iron workers, and then one more patch of flowers just for pod workers, right? I think that should be enough. Let's try 3 patches. Now, is there any other ants that we need? We might want our inventor ants on a separate patch, so that would be a 4th patch. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. We just want pretty much 4 distinct patches, okay? So let me just replace some of these tiles first with concrete tile, with iron tile, sorry. Then we can better draw out our borders. So we'll get, so everything that has stuff on there, oh, we wanted that concrete. Everything that has stuff on there, we want to replace with iron tile, basically. And then the concrete tile would just be like pathways between stuff, right? This is not a necessary step, this is purely aesthetic. So here's our main spawning loop, and then here's where our flower patches are gonna start. So if we want to do a flower patch, let's try them 9 wide. So I'm gonna erase 9 tiles here, and then I'm gonna erase 9 tiles here, and then I'm gonna erase like 9 tiles here, and then I'm gonna erase 9 tiles here. And this is where I want all my flowers in the entire game. 4 patches of flowers, I think. So 3 patches for all the main stuff, 1 patch to make inventor ants. Inventor ants are coming from fancy ants and iron ants. It should be fine. We should be able to take all the ants from the flower trail. We'll split them in half or some proportion to make iron worker ants perfectly for the inventor ant 2s. So that will be it. I'm going to let the game play and then just observe. Someone told me it takes 10 minutes for stuff to spawn. I can already see my flowers are spawning. I need to go around the edges with some stockpiles and just clean them all out again. So let me go ahead and do that. And we might need to leave the stockpiles here. Oh, I can't even get this stockpile to delete these flowers. Why can't I delete these flowers? They're too far on the edge of the map. Well, that's going to be a problem if I can't put my stockpile here. Any other edges of the map that's spawning stuff? Yeah, we're going to just put a bunch of stockpiles here so that they can't keep respawning flowers. And we'll leave them there. Try to get rid of this 1 flower. And we'll just leave stockpiles on the edges of the map to stop the flowers from respawning. These ones seem to be okay. I just can't get rid of these ones, which is a little bit annoying. Oh, I see it. Put a large stockpile there. And then a large stockpile there. Alright, that should stop that one. Put a stockpile here. Anywhere the flowers spawn, we need to just leave a stockpile. I mean, this one on the edge of the map, I'm not going to be able to stop anywhere else. There's a big bunch here. So we've got to get stockpiles like maybe here and here. Probably some over here and here. We don't want them spawning there. Probably one like there. There's a bunch of stockpiles there. And I don't think they can spawn anywhere else. So I'm going to leave that. And we're going to let the game run for 10 minutes. And then we're going to come back and see what happens. Been about 10 minutes. I've just gotten my ants doing some random odd jobs around the map, but I don't really care what they're doing. They're just picking up like loose scrap everywhere. But basically I've just been going around the edge of my island adding dispensers. They're smaller, so I can use them to delete little flowers that are spawning. But you just got to keep on the lookout for more flowers that are spawning that you don't want them to spawn, like in here, because then they'll just bunch up all in here. So you just kind of have to keep monitoring, and eventually they should spawn. I've got one patch spawned here, and I don't know why another patch isn't spawning here, here, or here. I can see there's little wireweed spawning here, but not many flowers. So I don't know what's going on there, but we'll see. It's also really good because we can turn one into a foraging trail and another into a plant cutting trail maybe. I don't know, we'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to try to consolidate some of my storages into large storages. We're going to do a proper storage system this time around. Just murdering ants while I do all this. Don't mind me. Now, I'm going to let my game run a bit longer. Hope keep an eye out for flowers everywhere, and basically just wait until these patches spawn with flowers, I guess. Because I don't feel like I've gotten all my flowers back. Unless my viewers are trolling me and this doesn't actually work, but I don't know. I don't think they would do that. So we're just going to keep waiting. So here's what our flower trails look like after maybe it's been an hour of me just basically pruning everything. So I've had to go around the edge of the island. As you can see, sometimes the flowers, they spawn over here. So I just go in there and I chuck a dispenser on top of them to delete them. And this lovely flower has spawned right here somewhere I can't delete. But yes, there's a lot of flowers just spawning, and I've just been deleting them to try to force them to spawn into the middle. So I just would lap around like this, look for any flowers. You can see all the dispensers everywhere now, deleting all the excess flowers that I don't want to spawn on the edge of the map. And every time you delete them, like 10 minutes later, they'll pick a new spawn point. I've been hoping they go into one of these 4 trails. This one's just started out, but we've got sort of 3 workable trails. I'm not convinced the total amount of flowers in here are the same as the total amount of flowers out in the world, but I think we're close enough to get us started. I'm hoping over time more will spawn, but I want to sit here for another hour. We're going to just keep ahead, forging forward with our build. So you've seen all this before. Because there's so much to rebuild, I'm not going to go through, like, you're not going to see me build every single section. I'm just going to build it, and then I'm going to cut to when it's done. I'll just talk about what we're going to build first. Obviously, we need to get our queen feeding. We are on empty, so we are back to 0 ants, which is not good, obviously. So we need to start feeding our queen some stuff to get our ants spawning. So I'm going to get these feeding trails going, get some energy orb harvesting trails going, and when that's done, I will come back and I will talk about it. Alright, our first trail is up and running, so we're going to have to figure out what we want to do with these ants, and everything's going to go into colliders. So we're just going to build our way up. So I've got my main trail out here. We've got our 8 ants divided over here and here, and we've got 5 ants working this trail at the moment. I've done a thing where I'm putting stockpiles on the opposite corners of the trail. That basically doubles the utility of the ants. So like say you pick up this flower, it's not have to walk all the way around to drop it there. You can walk here, drop it off, and then pick up a flower from this section. So you can put more stockpiles to sort of increase the utility of your ants. Now, with these stockpiles, we're currently just direct feeding them into the queen just to get some initial population going. But we want to essentially get more better energy orbs. So the next thing we're going to build is our first collider array over here, and we're going to figure out how we're going to do that. So once I figure that out, I'll come back and talk about it. So I tested a few different collider trails. I've added my old gate over here to combine the ants into regular worker ants, and then they're going to go into making these energy orb 2s. I've been testing a few different ways of doing this trail with slingers on each section and stuff, and the reason why it doesn't really work is because of the counter gates. So this method that I've done here is my old method where we've got counter gates going into each one of these trails. The way we've done it here links all the trails as one singular trail. That way you can have one counter gate that knows how many ants are in this section and it won't overfill. Otherwise, you need to have individual counter gates. You can put slingers on each section and create separate trails, but essentially then you would need counter gates onto each single one of these things, and it's not going to be very pretty. So the only difference I've made compared to my old systems, I'm using a slinger to get it all into one stockpile to make it a little bit easier. Now we're going to try to figure out how many ants we need to basically make this work. So I don't think this slinger is getting a little bit overloaded, maybe. I don't know. I'm just trying to observe the systems to see where the bottlenecks are. We're going to build up our systems very, very slowly to see how we go and what we need. Because I basically don't want to use energy orb ones anymore. And we can see this one flower trail, 4 colliders is, you know, we're getting way too many energy orbs. So we're definitely going to need more colliders, right? So I'm going to keep building this system up slowly, and when we've drained all of the energy orbs here, I'll come and talk about how many colliders and such we need. As I was building my second set of colliders, I realized that old design may not be the best thing to do. So what I've done is I have changed the design to do this instead. What this is doing now is essentially we're creating a big long trail over here, and we're sending each one with a counter gate of 1 into each section. This drastically simplifies the design because it's just one tiny triangle. We're utilizing the concept of the slinger to help us out here. So you can see that inside each loop is a dispenser and a slinger. So this ant will just run around and collide stuff, right? And when it finishes colliding, it'll go to the slinger. Otherwise, if it's not holding the right item for the slinger, it's just going to keep doing little loops around here, which is just basically allowing it to get as many energy orbs or whatever material into your processor as possible. And now this lets us expand a lot easier, I think, than what we were doing before, because I was looking at the volume of colliders necessary for this sort of project, and I'm suspecting we need something stupid, like some stupid amount of colliders. So I think this sort of setup would be better because it's very easily extendable. Literally the only limit is the north-south length of the map. I can keep going. Actually, I wouldn't say that's the limit. The limit is this dispenser, because these dispensers need to link to a stockpile. So that's pretty much the maximum sling distance. So your height of each section will probably be like down to around here somewhere. But that's still plenty, and plenty more than we had before. And this is very easy to deal with. I'll show you how I made one of these so that you can see what we're doing. This is all a learning experience, you know, we're all learning this stuff together, so let's learn together. So basically it's just your machine, and your machine you got to change to whatever you're fusing. Make sure you hard set the recipe so it doesn't accidentally try to bring an energy orb 2 into here and then it fuses like an energy orb 3 or something. So just make sure you explicitly set the recipes. Yeah, so basically you go in, you set the recipe, and then you just get your dispenser like this. You put it aligned to the edge of here, and then you get yourself a slinger, which is in your storage. Now I'm gonna run out of screws to make slingers. I already used like 400 screws, so we're gonna have to start making some production stuff soon. You put the slinger on the other side of things, and then all you have to do is draw a very simple hauling trail, right? And then, like, let's say we extend this down a little bit. Then all you have to do is put a counter gate into the hauling trail, and then you're done. That's it. That's the whole process. And then when an ant comes along here, it's going to go into the counter gate and distribute itself accordingly, and then you've got another one. Make sure you assign the target of the slinger, and then you're sweet. Right? Let's see if this many colliders, I think there's 10 here, can process away this set of orbs. Then I'll have a rough idea of like how many colliders I need on my trail. That's just half the orbs, by the way. The other half of the orbs is sitting here. So yeah, definitely can get a lot of processing going. So I'm going to let this run for a while and see how many more of these colliders I can add. And I really need to start getting glass and screws to continue this build. I have a feeling this entire first island is just going to be colliders, because I think our goal is just to get as high energy orb as possible, right? Like we really want just energy orb 4s if possible, right? So I'm gonna let this run for a bit while I figure some stuff out. Well, I'm gonna put in the old gates. Let's do the old gates real quick together, because we haven't done the old gates yet. I left some space for the old gates. So after it does its sling, which is over here, we should get an old gate back out here. So we can put them diagonal, so it makes it definitely after it drops off its material. So we can get a bunch of old gates out here, so that when they get old, they can just go somewhere. I'm gonna get them to become drones to go collect glass temporarily or semi-temporarily or something, but essentially they're gonna go down to this old trail, and then we're gonna send them out of the system somewhere. I mean, of course, later on, once our system is done, these old ones will probably go into some sort of gene cocoon. I'm gonna put my gene cocoon back in somewhere central so that we don't end up building something. Like, let's just put it here so that we know that at some point we need a gene cocoon. But for now, I need to send my guys over to the other side of the island just temporarily to just mine out the rest of this glass to just get some, like, another 1,000 glass blocks going. So I'm going to figure out how to do that. And once I've done that, I'll come and talk about it. But in the meantime, we're going to let this saturate and see if it can drain all these orbs. I think it is. Like I had 100 here. Now we have 60. So I think this many is definitely enough. It might be too much, in which case we'll just delete some and then start draining this set of orbs. Or we can do a full line and then put both orbs in here like half and see if that's enough. I really need to do some measurements. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and talk about it. I noticed I said my next objective was to just get glass blocks going on this side of the island, but doing that made me go down a giant rabbit hole. So let's first talk about a couple of stuff. I've now reduced this thing's stockpile down to this many, as you can see, and we're fully processing out all the stuff here. So I might get rid of one more, and then we're going to swap it with that. So we're kind of getting a rough idea of how many we need. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 is maybe 6 or 7. We'll get rid of this one, and then we've got a few on this one. Oh wait, why is that one on this one? Hold on, let's get them all together, getting it out of the right stockpile, and get rid of that one then. Anyway, we're trying to figure out how many. I'm just slowly removing these dispensers until I get the right amount to get this in a slight surplus and get that dwindling down. At the moment, with these colliders alone on energy pod 2s alone, we're already on stage 7, so that's fantastic. Now the other thing I've done is I've removed one of these spawners so that we can get a slight larvae surplus, because I want to start transporting my larvae onto this side of the island, and I've got them going into a dispenser. That way we can teleport the larva around wherever we want. At the moment, we've got it set to these 2 trails, and this trail is a little bit of a waste, but that's okay. Eventually we're going to utilize all that, but you can see what this trail is doing. It's sending a dude to the catapulter to send materials back. So where are those materials coming from? And if you haven't noticed, I've put down an iron core on this island so we can do things a little bit more organized. So we're going over here to this glass trail, and I've cleaned up all of this trail to make it a lot better now. So you can see here, we've got one dude working over here. Eventually it'll be replaced by one of these worker ants, but I just have to get the system kickstarted, and it's going to spawn a bunch of ants here that can do work on this island. We'll give them all work to do one day. I don't know how to control this to be like less than 1, because I only literally want a few ants here. They're just self-sustaining. So this thing is just turning scrap into block. This is turning block into screws. The screws are going here. When these ants get old, they're going to go into the assembler to become small diggers. And then the small diggers are going to go dig this, and we're eventually going to need to dig concrete because we've run out of concrete on the main island. So I'm just future-proofing a little bit. I know at the moment it's a bit of a waste because we're just focusing our efforts on getting glass. Now, how are we getting iron, you might ask? Well, the diggers are going to get recycled back into iron, and we've got an ant on this trail that's going to take all that scrap iron and put it in places. I don't know what I want this to be. Maybe I'll move that and that there and that there, and then this can be not scrap iron and whatever it needs to be. Anyway, so what's going on here? Why do you hate everything? You've got an item drop. Why would you have an item? What item are you carrying? A screw. All right, so they definitely need to get into some sort of rubbish bin just in case. So we'll just do a hauling trail here, and then we'll just add a bin. No problem there. There you go. Now, if they do come out with items for whatever reason, they can still get on that. And then they're going to become digger ants, and they're going to dig glass. And now glass is going to be all transported back to the main island via throwing stuff. Now, just to close off this loop, look how many drones we have. We have 1 billion drones. That means they're going to use up 1 billion of our cloth. We don't want to run out of cloth, so I'm going to add in a recycling loop here as well, so that the old drones can not die. Now, here is something we've done with the stockpile gate. How are we getting lava across? So we've got the dispenser with the lava in there, and we've got a little stockpile gate to check if this thing is full of lava. Now, if this thing is full of lava, everything is saturated, and we don't want to keep grabbing the lava out. So eventually everything will fully saturate, I think. Yeah, so I don't know if we need like a timer gate for it to put lava in here. Maybe we should put a timer gate to slow it down a bit. I don't know. So we'll do something. It doesn't really matter right now. It's not hurting anyone. All our materials are currently recyclable. So when you come back home, we basically want you to just go and get recycled if you're old. So I'm going to add in the recycling portion of this so that we don't lose all our fabric. Alright, so there's our recycling loop, and now we have glass back on our main island. Our glass is being catapulted back, so it should dispense very, very quickly nowadays. and we should be able to get all of that glass back. Eventually, we will be able to now make our glass blocks, which is one of our materials for our collider. All of this is just to get more colliders. So this whole episode, we're just going to build tons and tons of colliders until we get rid of this. So we've got 109 here. I'm just counting how many more colliders we need to get this going. So this is still too many, it feels like, because it's still on 0, right? Can I look at how many ants are actually working? Maybe I don't need this many colliders, which would be awesome. So let's get rid of another one, and then we'll put a dispenser here. Hey, the less colliders we need, the better. And we're going to start working on getting our glass smelted. So we've got a bunch of glass shards coming in now. We need to smelt that. Now, whether I want to do that as a temporary or permanent setup, that is a whole another question. We can maybe do something with these workers, because these workers, we've got plenty on this trail. We can maybe put some smelting work back this way or something. At least temporarily we can put our smelting trail here. So we might just get our glass smelters in here. Once I've set that up, I'll come and talk about it. Alright, there it is, our glass smelting facility. Nice and easy. It's just a temporary one there, so I don't know where I'm going to do my actual glass smelting one day, but at least we're going to get our glass now, and we can build more colliders. I've still been measuring these colliders. I've removed a couple of dispensers here because this number's still going down. We're at 77, 75. So I'm trying to find the minimum number of colliders. I don't want to build too many colliders. So this is still going down, which is good. We're just going to keep monitoring these systems. This is still going good. Our new trail over here is all good. We might get an old trail going out here as well. We can recycle this guy, be super efficient, you know. Get that guy in there as well. Oh, he just died. Never mind. But that way we'll recycle our fabric. This system's been going okay. We're getting dispensed stuff over here. We're getting too many billion ants over here. Eventually these guys will go and probably go harvest some copper or something for me. But at the moment, I don't really have any work for you guys to do. And yeah, our glass is being transported backwards. Nice. And how many digger ants do we have on the trails down here? Let me just observe these trails, make sure it's all going good. We've got 1 billion ants down here. We don't need 1 billion ants. So we'll probably figure out either something for them to do or delay this process a little bit, because we've got way too many digger ants now. Look how many digger ants we have. We probably need digger ants old gate out of this trail as well, so we don't end up using all our materials. Let me just set up an old gate this way as well, and we'll get that all going. And it should be okay, because these guys will always basically always recycle themselves, and they'll turn back into screws. In theory, this should be a closed system. We shouldn't run out of materials doing this. It doesn't matter if we've got too many ants here. But yes. Over on this side of the world, based on our current energy feeding of our queen, we're maintaining stage 8, I believe, which is pretty low, but that's okay. We're still working towards stuff. We've got way too many ants on this one trail. Remember, we're only working one trail at the moment. And if we're looking at the trail, I think, yep, these numbers are going good. It's like hovering at 69. And we've got too many flowers. Is that too many flowers active at once? We might need to up this to like 11 or something. Should be alright. It looks like they've harvested every flower, because I'm not seeing many energy on the actual flowers. So we're just balancing the numbers one little bit at a time. Okay. So I think we're good now. See how this is set at 69? That means we know roughly how many we need to balance it. 1, 2, 3, 4 on this one, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this one. It's like an awkward number, right? It's always going to be a weird, awkward number. Maybe it's a little too high. Maybe we'll go 5. And then we can get rid of this one. That definitely doesn't need to exist, so we'll get rid of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. So 10 is perfect. That's a great round number. Now we know how many of these we need. We can start now, instead of feeding energy orb 2s, we can collide all these energy orb 2s into energy orb 3s. So let's figure out how to do that next. So looking at the collision time for energy orb 2s and 3s, they're exactly the same. So you'd think you'd need half the amount of energy orb 2s to get to energy orb 3s, which is exactly what I've done. Now, this thing is okay, but we need to wait for the ants to saturate, which I currently don't have enough saturation for. I just upped this thing's volume, and because we're feeding higher level energy orbs, we don't actually need as many ants on this trail to keep the queen fed. As you can see, our stage is now going well into 9 now that I've transitioned to energy orb 3s. So we're just going to wait for the ants to saturate this trail. It's not the most efficient trail, but that's fine. Eventually they'll saturate, they'll make all the energy orb 3s, and that should push us into a higher stage. Once we get to 10, we're going to have a lot more larvae. So we can start looking at maybe getting 2 trails worth. But then again, once we start grabbing the second trail, we're going to need new colliders for the second trail. Which means if we don't have enough ants doing this, you know what that means? Instead of this, what we need is iron worker ants, because that transitions a lot more of our normal workers into a lot more ants. So if ant volume is a problem, we can very easily fix that, but we will see, because we still got more to do. We still need to collide these now into energy orb 4s, so might get another 2 more colliders going for that. So I'm going to let this system run to let it balance out, and once it balances out and at energy collider 4, then we can talk about what we might want to do with this in terms of ant volume and stuff like that. I'll let my game run for quite some time now, and we seem to have stabilized around stage 9. I'm not sure if it's still going up slowly, but stage 9 is pretty good considering we're only using one of our 4 flower trails. I mean, it's the biggest one, about even size to this one. And yeah, we're getting plenty of queen level. We're almost getting to even 10 almost. So the other thing that we've noticed is that we don't need a billion ants on this trail anymore to feed, because we're using energy orb 4s and there's barely any energy orb 4s. We don't really need our sentry ant on this now. And obviously these trails aren't super efficient, as you can see. They go on way too long and the ants don't distribute very well. We might have to have a think about how we deal with that in the future. But for now, everything seems to be going all right. I've sent basically 1 ant into this secondary trail so that there's always an ant roaming around here ready to fill something in. So you can see now that they're all filled, this trail is empty, so it's going to send another ant to roam this trail. And then when one of these gets old, we might need to do something with them. I haven't sent these old ants off to do anything yet because, you know, we've got enough drones on this side. We don't need any more drones. So we're all good. We're producing plenty of glass ready for our next big wave of colliders, and we've got plenty of other materials, but we are running out of iron, so we might need to temporarily set up some iron somewhere. But everything's going all right so far, so I think it's time to set up our second trail. So I'm gonna harvest this, and we can see it's a smaller trail, so we don't need as many ants. There's 15 here, so I might send 10 ants to this one, and they're gonna become our iron workers, and we're gonna send them over here to do stuff, and they're probably gonna have a lot of spare workers, so we can send them off to do other stuff. I know there's spare workers on this trail as well, but yeah. We're gonna do another series of colliders over here, converting these ones now. So basically this whole episode we're just going to convert all 4 of our trails using colliders. Basically our answer's just going to make energy orbs for the future. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Check it out, there is our second array of colliders. It's looking beautiful. I told you this whole map would just be colliders eventually. I've actually run out of screws, so I had to set up a little iron operation down here. We've just got 6 smelters, nice and simple. They're all making iron for us. Since we need to turn these guys into iron worker ants, right? So we need a new supply of iron. We've got plenty of scrap to go through, so that's fine. And we need iron for building and stuff as well. Apparently this has already run out of stuff. Where's my giant stockpiles of iron? It's got to be some over here. Is it? No, these are diodes. Here's another scrap pile. It's going to start using up all my old scrap piles, producing some iron. But we've got the second trail all set up now. Might need to optimize it a little bit to just capture all the flowers, because some of these flowers are just not being captured properly. There we go. That should be better. Those flowers are all sent to dispensers along here. I've gone with 8 to do energy orb 2s, and then obviously 4, half of that to do energy orb 3s, and then half of that to do energy orb 2s. Nothing's being produced at the moment because obviously we're waiting for the iron workers to saturate this path, but they will eventually saturate that path. I've set 10 iron workers on this path, so we're just gonna have to let it run. Our old path is running perfectly fine at the moment. Our 1 sentry ant grabbing this food is fine, I guess. Maybe we should just put it a little bit closer so that it doesn't have to run as much. Just like the tightest little path that it can run. You can feed the queen a little bit faster. Not that it needs to be faster, we don't have any spare energy orbs anyway. It's like put these directly behind all the stuff. So yeah, here we go. What is going on here? This one's got no target. Yep, there we go. What's going on here? These has no target. Have I not assigned these targets? Some of these were still building at the time, so I couldn't assign the targets. Assign those targets. I don't even know what to do with all these extra energy orbs for now. I mean, we could just feed our queen and get to stage 11, but I don't need that many ants right now. This is still building. We'll assign this target. And we're just waiting for ants. We're just waiting for ants, and we're waiting for screws, of all things. We've run out of screws. Completely run out of screws. That's so funny. Alright, cool. So we've done 2 trails worth of energy orbs. We need to monitor the second trail now to make sure that we are positive, or if we have too many colliders or whatever. But this is basically the ants that we need for our gene. So should we set up our gene next? It's a little bit more involved than that, setting up the genes, because you do require making glass. Although I do have a big stockpile of glass at the moment. Oh, that catapult is helping so much. And we can also start probably... Oh, there's so many things that we should just slowly start doing. Like digging for more scrap iron, I guess. Like clearing out this area. We can set up our third trail for stuff. I don't know what I want to do with my third trail yet. Because the second trail, I'm thinking these are going to be for our inventors, right? So that'll be good. This guy's got some scrap iron in his hand. We need to go over here and just drop it. You are colliding energy orb 4s. Excellent. You're just waiting for screws. Okay, fair enough. What's going on with my screws? You're not making screws? Oh, you are making screws as fast as you can. Fine. Don't need to go too crazy with the screws because we don't really need them. I think we're done with all our slinger setup. We don't need that many more slingers. That's our 2 main energy loops set up. Now we can just temporarily use this to feed the queen if we want to get to 11, but I don't think we really need to get to 11. In terms of how many ants are in this trail, we can see there's like a perfect amount, but that's because 4 of them are sitting here. So we might like drop this at some point. But yeah, we're maintaining stage 10. I really like this, and we are fully optimizing all of our energy usage by converting them all to the highest energy orb that we have access to. So where do we go from here is the question. I'm very, very confused. I mean, I can either, 1, set up the gene points. I mean, gene points running in the background would be fantastic while I work out what other things need to be set up. So that'll probably be the next setup. Alright, I've moved my glass processing away from over here. You guys can go back on this trail. And we've moved it up here because this is where we're going to have all our extra ants. They're the iron workers. There's a billion of them. We've got so many of these extra energy orb 4s. We can jump to stage 11 whenever we want to, but we don't want to right now. I wish there was a way to control this a little bit better, because this is like a little bit too much to push it over to stage 11, but I want to use these for research. But we'll see how we go. Anyway, we've made glass, and these glass cubes are going to be used for making this stuff. Only used for this stuff, and we'll just reserve this rest of this glass for building slingers if we need to. But here it is, the light bulb manufacturer. We know we need at least 2, so I've just built 2. We'll let them saturate a full stockpile full of light bulbs. We're going to need them. So we have all the ingredients we need for making our stuff, except for fabric. We're going to have a fabric deficit. So we need to set up fabric as well. Now, how are we going to do that is another question, because we need ants to cut stuff over here. Maybe, well, we don't have many spare ants on this trail, but we have a bunch of iron workers. We can send a couple of iron workers to go cut stuff over here, I guess. They can just die, I guess. My plant's just going to keep respawning from here. Let's just do a lap around our map to make sure no extra flowers have spawned. I think every single flower that's going to spawn on this map has spawned, and I'm still not convinced this is every flower on the map. Maybe it looked like more flowers because there were more smaller patches, whereas now we just have 4 very, very dense patches. But you guys can tell me, is this like every flower on the island? It's all respawned? But anyway, these plants have all respawned, so we should be able to create a plant cutting trail within this trail somehow. I don't know if that's a good idea. Or maybe we'll just go cut the plants around in random places, or we can properly set up permanent plant cutting on this island. Yeah, I think I like the idea of permanent plant cutting on this island, because we need something for our drones to do as well, because our drones got nothing to do. Alright, let me set all that up. That's the plan. We're gonna turn some of these old ants into drones, and then those drones are going to ferry material back and forth. I know we can just catapult stuff back and forth, but what else are my drones gonna do? Because I need a bunch of drones doing something. So I guess we'll just save the effort of transporting the materials of a catapult over, and we'll just drone ferry back all of this stuff over here across this area. I've also started doing this thing where I'm putting the iron tiles underneath where my buildings are, and then the concrete tiles are going to be like the pathways. It's probably a mistake because we're probably going to have more buildings than pathways at the end of the day, but whatever, that's fine. We're getting everything going slowly. We should probably also, yeah, we got to make a new flight path over here. So I'm going to set all that up, and then when that's all done, I'll come back and talk about it. All right, I've got a very basic thing set up. So I've set up all my old trails for all the iron worker ants. They're all funneling down here into this assembler. They're going to be turned into drone ults, and drones are just going to go to here, and then they're going to ferry back fiber from this island. For now, we just need to set up a quick fabric maker because we're going to be in a fabric deficit very soon if we don't have one of those. So I'm going to set one up over here. There it is, a very simple fabric maker. I'm just doing one. I forget how many fabric makers we actually need to stay fabric positive, so I'm just going to do one for now, and we can add more to the system later if we need to, but we've got plenty of fabric for now, so that's all fine. This fabric I feel like should, I don't know if we should be using it from here or here. I really don't know, but we'll figure all that out later. That's fine. Right now the system is good. So we've got old iron workers, we've got old drones coming out of here, we've got old normal workers. We're only missing one last piece of the puzzle, which is the pod workers 1 and 2. Now these energy orbs over here, let's assume they're all going to be used up. So I want a specialty energy orb just for the pod workers, and I think this tiny patch would be perfect for them. I don't know, I'm not sure if it's enough. Is that going to be enough? I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be enough energy orbs, to be honest, now that I'm looking at them, because we're going to need to collide some, and yeah, we'll see. So we'll get, well, I don't know, like 4 ants into this trail, and then we'll get some of them doing colliding, and then we will go from there. And then they'll come out as pod workers, and then they'll go into the final gene cocoon somewhere. We'll probably move the gene cocoon down here somewhere, but I'll go ahead and set all that up, and when that's done, we'll probably end the episode there. We've done a lot of changes to this base. I know I've cut through a lot of the footage, so the episode might be like 30 or 40 minutes long, but I think I've been doing this for like 4 hours now, including the time it takes to respawn all these flowers, and our base is looking magnificent. We've got energy orb 4s. Look at all these energy orb 4s. We could zoom our queen to a whole new level if we wanted to right now. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. What's going on over here? We've destroyed a stockpile of stuff, so we've got to make sure we are grabbing more of our scrap iron. We have so many scrap iron everywhere. Where is the next pile? Where's another pile of 100? Let's chuck that in there. Got to monitor this scrap iron pile. Yeah, we can take the pod workers from here, so we can control how many go in there. All right, I'm going to set that up. When that's done, I'll come back and talk about it. Alright, I've implemented all the basics for the gene cocoon, so while we're hard at work on our brand new base, we can at least get some gene cocoon stuff happening on the background. We don't have to worry about it, we're not going to thump or anything, we're not trying to unlock anything, we'll just get them rolling in the background so we're not wasting our time while we try to set up all of our other colliders and stuff, and all our inventor ant points and things like that, because that's going to be a big setup next episode, properly doing the inventor points. But here's all our ants, as you can see. Now we've got our gene cocoon. We're just missing a couple of these babies, but they will just slowly sort themselves out at some point. We can kind of maybe help it out a bit with a couple of these ants for now, I guess. We've got like 4 extra spare ones. Give them a little hand. No, should be fine. Well, we'll just let them do their thing. We're not in a rush to get gene cocoon. I don't care that these ants are dying. Everything needs some time to balance out. So I'll go through what I've done. I've implemented our 3-5 splitter over here now, so only a bunch of them will become drones, and our drones are going to go in here and do their little flight path to bring back all of our lovely fiber, and that's all they're doing. I don't remember what my drones were doing before. I'm pretty sure they were doing this as well, but it just feels like I have way too many drones doing this, but it doesn't really matter. Otherwise, the old ants from these trails are coming out and they're going straight into the cocoon. Why do I have a big X here? What is not happy? Oh, yeah, right. I have to make some princess ants. I don't even have princess ants set up. So I'll have to set up the princess ant at some point from somewhere. I don't know how to make a princess ant. It was a drone plus a inventor ant, was it? Yeah, I don't have inventor ants yet, but we can get inventor ants going at some point. Probably from which trail? We'll probably get some of these like every now and then to become an inventor ant. And then the inventor ants can go in there, I guess. We'll have to work out the timing for it and stuff. So just bear with me. Let me sort that out and I'll figure out what the heck's going on over here. What's not happy? This trail, this trail, this trail. Ah, this guy's got stuff. Shouldn't just go about deleting trails like that. Why do you have a fabric? Why do you have a fabric? What? So annoying. Alright, the guy with the fabric is gone. Probably gotta put a thing somewhere before they go out. So they definitely get a bin here. I probably should put a bin here, honestly. So right before they go divide, they can be a bin and then they can go in here. That's fine. This can just be an elder trail again. That will make sure they don't have anything. Like this guy. Get back in there. Yes, so we need to just set up a princess ant. We might just temporarily make them. And we're also just measuring if this is enough or this is like too much, right? Like we got way too many. So we need to slow down this process and allow, like this is enough for this process. We just need to timer this thing. So we can put a gate in here like this. What is it? A stockpile gate. And we only go, so it's trying to go there. Well, we can let it do circles, and then if there's a certain time that it can reach this thing, then you can go grab one, right? Nope, that's not it. Hauling trail, there we go. So we go, if this thing is greater than 5, then go grab one. And I think that will be fine because then every now and then it will grab one to make into one of these. I don't know, we'll have to test it out to see, but otherwise it's just gonna run laps around here until it can go and grab a thing to make, because we've got way too many orb 2s and not enough orb 1s. So we'll see if that works. And we'll see if this tiny little flower patch is enough to sustain these guys. In the meantime, I'm going to go figure out where I'm going to get my inventor ants from. And I'm going to keep processing away all this scrap iron. We've got so much scrap iron, if I can just find it. And at some point, we're going to make digger ants. I got lots of things to do. Lots of things to do. So we'll get that one next, I guess. All right, I'll be back when I figure out how to get my princess ants automated. Actually, you know what? We're going to do the princess ant next episode and sort out the genes next episode. We'll do it in pause mode because we've got all these ants ready to go. So we'll leave it here this episode. It doesn't really make sense to do a temporary princess ant setup because princess ants are complicated by nature. And next episode, the next thing we're going to do is do something with this group of flowers, maybe collide those energy orbs, and then we're going to send off those workers to do some other stuff. I don't know what that other stuff is yet, but essentially we're going to do something along the lines of collide the energy orbs, get the workers to become inventors and fancy ants and inventor 2s and whatnot, and then do some sort of inventor tower setup. And then from there, we can pull some drones and pull some inventor ants to become princess ants. So since we're going to do that anyway, we might as well just leave this episode here. We've done plenty of good work. Look at all these crazy colliders we've made. We're making so many energy orb 4s, and most importantly, we've restructured our base so that it is much more easy to scale in future. So we'll leave it here this episode. If you've enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.